So, House of the Dragon, season 2 is over and done with now. The final episode just aired tonight, so like I said, we're doing an immediate reaction of it, like most people are, posting
Mhm.
their kind of thoughts on it there. Season 2, I would say it seems like some people were not as strong on it as season 1. I guess I'll elaborate on that later on.
Same.
Okay, you're one of those people. Okay.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people did worry because this show and the production of the show was taking place during when the writer's strike happened. So a lot of people were kind of worried about the quality of the show if it would have a dip,
Yeah.
being that it was taking place during the writer's strike and that's what production was. So a lot of people kind of worried about that. But what's going on in this season 2? So, like if you remember the events of season 1, it's basically the blacks and the greens gearing up for war here. Do they really want this war? Is war pretty much inevitable? You have Rhaenyra and you have Alicent there, former friends kind of on either side. Rhaenyra is very much trying to avoid war as much as possible. They're trying to find maybe some out. Is there some possible hope of getting out of this? If there is war, can we have an advantage of it? One of the advantage of the blacks is they have a lot of dragons on their side, but not a lot of riders for the dragons
Mhm.
there. So that also is a big issue that comes up in this season for them. The Greens, they have a lot of stuff going for them. They have obviously Vagar, who's the biggest dragon out of all of them, which is written by Aemon. Um,
Mhm.
and you also see with the Greens there, they do have kind of some support there with a lot of people like Tywin Lannister there. Tywin Lannister, you see they have a good court there. Allison at one time was a member of that court, but got kicked off there pretty quickly when Aemon kind of took rule there. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a
uh,
lot of thoughts about, how her kids turned out. I'm over here like, you made your kids this way. Like, why are you mad now? Like,
so that's a lot. But yeah, so let's get into it. So you're saying you don't like the season as much as season 1.
yeah, I just feel like it was mostly a lot of filler episodes this season. Like they really were dragging on. Like, oh my god, what's Rhaenyra gonna do? She seemed very weak this season. Like she finally came into her own like the last, episode before the final. But it's just it. And then with Damon and like his like let's fix this castle Harrenhal edition. Like all the visions that he was having. Like the one where he's with his mom. I was like, the thing with Game of Thrones or like this a song of the Song of Ice and Fire, like fandom, the verse, you have to accept that incest is a thing, but like I guess we draw the line at like parents and children apparently.
Uh, I guess not uncle and niece. That's
That's
still,
fine. There's still a separation right there. It's like
but just parents and yeah, mother and son. I guess is too much. I guess.
I was like, oh god. Like everyone was like, is that his sister-in-law? I'm like, no, that's his mom.
You see a lot of stuff. Damon, who was very much him and Renee are very much separated through most of the season because he
Yeah.
was trying to raise an army there for her. I forgot what was the place that he was at. It was
Harrenhal.
Harrenhal there,
Yeah.
and
With Sir Simon.
Sir Simon there. And
The best character.
you saw a lot of his journey there, like you said, having the visions. And then I thought that woman that he was talking to, I thought it was going to be revealed that she was like a figment of his imagination. I thought it was kind of going to be revealed there.
Yeah.
Some people speculate that maybe she's like a child of the forest, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
I thought that maybe that would kind of come into play there. But yeah, you see a lot of that. He's having, constantly a lot of visions there, visions of a young Rhaenyra there at first,
Mhm.
especially like fixing his mistakes, what
His
he did.
Yeah, his former wife.
Yes, his former wife there. Seeing a lot of his brother, his
Yeah.
of Viserys there. You see one of
Yes.
him when he recreates the speech in season 1 where he kicks him out, and then you see also this scene where he's talking to him while he's dying,
Yeah.
they're decaying, and handing him the crown there. I would say for me with season 2, I don't think it's as strong as season 1.
Yeah.
I think that you're right. I mean, because it seemed like okay, season 1 there's that iconic final shot of Rhaenyra, then she's like crying in the fireplace, and then she
Yeah.
turns around and she has that look. It's like, okay, war is on now. And
Yeah.
then it seems like a lot of this season is still like, do we really want to do war? Do we not really want to do war? Maybe like let's avoid it. Maybe not. I mean, I get the like the huge ramifications of starting a big war, but at the same time, I'm like, I thought this season was supposed to be more about the war actually starting and
Yeah.
like seeing it. It seems like it's still a lot of prepping and planning, and I mean, you see some battles. I mean, battles are happening, but it's
Yeah.
still a lot of preparing for more of the bigger conflict. Is
Yeah,
that
getting more of an army. It's like, oh my god, this could take one episode to do, you know? Like, it's like, I don't know that, like, and a lot of people agree with me too that this season had a lot of filler episodes that kind of led to like almost nowhere, dragging storylines on. But a lot of us were happy that Aemon burned Aegon in that one episode because if you remember in the season finale, he's like, my cock got burnt off like a sausage. I'm like, oh, that's what you get for being a rapist.
yeah, I mean, Aegon, who's in trouble. So, have you actually read the books of Fire and Blood?
No, I'm more of a person who watches and then like learns about more lore. Like I like to do my research while I'm watching these shows. And so like
Okay.
I learned a lot about like what ends up actually happening to a lot of these characters and I'm like and then others I'm like, "Oh." Like I was shocked that Allison what happens to her is that she becomes like a prisoner. But also too, I also heard that Rhaenyra was only queen for like 6 months, and I'm like, that sucks. Like it makes me wonder what, like, how long the show is going to last if they're gonna drag every episode on. Like, we end the season with them actually going to battle, and it's like, crap, we gotta wait 2 years now for this to happen. Like, oh,
And well, George R. R. Martin did say that I
he's
think
not happy.
oh, he's not happy.
Yeah, he's not the happiest with the direction some of the plot's gone and some of the characters.
Okay. I know that I was just watching a video and they were saying so Helena is vastly different from the show compared to the book.
Yeah, she's not a dream reader or whatever. She's not like a psychic in the show.
She doesn't
But
have any precognition or anything like that.
yeah, she's not
Oh.
like some Targaryens have like that gift, but she doesn't have it in the books. Um so I guess they did this to make her interesting because of how she behaves. Like they should listen to her. Like she's saying things that might not be interpreted like literally, but it ends up like, you know, she's like, I'm worried about the rats, and that refers to the rat catchers who kill her son. Um you're gonna lose. She predicted Aemon losing an eye in season 1 when they were children.
Mm.
Like, to me, Helena deserves better than like what her family has given her because it's interesting how it's like as if Allison wasn't like Allison's a terrible mother. Let's be real. I mean, her one son's a rapist and her other son is a bloodthirsty genocidal maniac who who actually took being a Targaryen legacy heir seriously, unlike, you know, Aegon. But Helena turned out so differently. It's almost like she wanted to shield her from like the horrors that she went through by basically being pimped out by her dad Otto, being forced, you know, to court, you know, Viserys. So, but in the end, she ended up having to marry Aegon, like be his sister bride.
Mm. Yeah. And you see, and it seems like at the end of this season, Helena, she has a little bit more control of her ability. It seems like there's I guess she was able to see into Damon's also vision, like the visions were linked. As
Yeah,
you see that Damon saw the vision of the Song of Ice and Fire, he
yeah,
saw Daenerys Targaryen, the mother of dragons, that in his vision he sees the Ice Walkers there,
yes,
all that. So and then I guess she was able to peer into his vision, I guess, in a way. Um,
yeah.
so it seems like she has a little bit more control over it.
Yeah.
There. So with also George R. R. Martin, so you say he's not happy with some of the characters here in it and the way they're kind of be portrayed. Anyone else really that?
I will give credit to Rinstar, who is a TikToker. They are a big Song of Ice and Fire fan, and they, as soon as it's like an episode's done, they do like a bunch of TikToks about it, and then like responses to like comments to like, and she even like they even say like, oh, it's very much, they're, there's no nettles, they're straying away from the books, like, explaining again like Helena not actually having psychic powers in the books, but I guess they wanted to make her somewhat interesting. And then the idea of the season really focusing on Team Green, which I didn't like
You think
at
this
all.
season focused more on Team Green than Team Black? You think?
Yeah, because this is when the whole Team Green, Team Black thing really comes to mind. And it's weird. It almost seemed like the writers were kind of also pro Team Green because they made Rhaenyra so weak this season because she's always just sitting in Dragonstone like, I can't do anything. What am I supposed to do? And the thing is, they're doing, like, by the end of the season, they're doing everything Daemon said to do.
Mhm.
Like, he said, find dragon riders, or to Rhaenys, miss her. Like, hey, you could have burnt Alicent and Aegon when you went away with Meleys. Like, I'm like, yes. Like, Daemon's the only one who has the ideas, and it took them the entire season to actually enact those things. Like with fighting dragon riders, for Silverwing and Vermouth. Like, it's that's the one thing like that. A lot of like, shout out to Olay, who's been doing House of the Dragon reviews on her YouTube channel. She even said the thing too. She's like, all this could have prevented had they just listened to Daemon in the first place.
Mm. So Damon actually was talking some good sense a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, because a lot of I think this season was also playing with Team Black of is there going to be even a civil war with even in Team Black of is Damon really going to fall in line and support
Yeah.
Rhaenyra? Is he not? What is he doing over there in Harrenhal? Is he going to
Mm-hmm.
raise the army for himself?
Yeah.
He keeps calling himself king when it's like, well, that wouldn't be
Your
really
king consort.
king
There's a
consort.
difference.
There's a little bit of a difference there. So there's that. They kind of played with that. Do you think that was interesting? I mean, I know you said you read some kind of far ahead, but was that kind of interesting, like to play with that of like, is he or is he not going to turn on her? It was a waste
Yeah.
of time.
It would have been nice to maybe have like him toy with that idea, but I just felt like all those visions and all that, like his suffering in Harrenhal, could have happened in like 1 or 2 episodes, but they had to drag. Like, every time we saw Daemon at Harrenhal, we're like, oh no, he's gonna have another weird vision, isn't he? I hope he's not banging his mom again.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely very very strange there. And I mean, I guess it goes into that thing, that psychology of that, and the psychology of Damon as a person of kind of what he wants and what he's always wanted is the rule there is the be on the Iron Throne,
Yeah,
as you can
because
kind of.
for those who remember, in the first season, it was supposed to be Rhaenys. That's why she's labeled as the queen who never was, because she was the heir to her father, who was on the throne. But he said he agreed that a man should be on the throne, and so he picked Viserys over Daemon, and that's how that happened.
And like you said, Rhaenys, shout out to Rhaenys, gone this season.
But never forgotten.
She ended up dying. Very epic, though, I will say. I mean, very.
That was the most. She went down with her dragon. She didn't even like unstrap herself or unhook herself. She's like, "Nah, I'm going down."
I mean, how did you like that? Because, like I said, they've had some battles in this show there.
Mhm.
How did you end up liking that there?
I was so happy. The only good thing Aemon ever did was burn his brother. But that battle was probably my favorite because we're like, yeah, we're seeing dragons fighting, and that's awesome. And but I don't understand is that Aegon was drunk when he was on his dragon, and also wearing Aegon the Conqueror's armor, which looks really really old and fake to me, and not as like knightly and like noble like it should be. Like,
Mm.
I don't know, but like it was so funny. He's like, yeah, Aemon's here, and then Aemon's like, Dracarys, and he's like, oh no. Like,
And
he's not Aegon can barely ride dragons. He's not a fighter. Like, if we remember from season 1, he ended up being like he was jerking off, during on the same place that dude commits suicide in Game of Thrones. Um, Alicent and Otto were like really making these kids be very, just awful and resentful towards their older sister, who's like, my dad said I was on the throne. I'm gonna listen. Like, if anything, she probably would have had Aegon and Aemon in her court somehow, like like in her council. Like, I don't see her trying to keep her family away from like any like other positions. And I mean, later on we discover Aegon is a rapist. He's raped multiple servant girls. Alicent's given them moon tea because Aegon's produced a lot of bastards. So, but Aemon was the one who studied Valerian. He studied, the Targaryen family history. He learned how to, ride Vhagar because he really wanted a dragon. He was taking, learning about, fighting, diplomacy. Like, I always said this too. I'm like, if T and Green were smart, they would have just had Aemon on the throne because he took it seriously, while Aegon was like just thirsty for blood for no reason and calling his sister a cunt and a bitch and all that. But then of course we realize, oh shit, Aemon's like he's basically he's basically a mirror of Daemon. Bloodthirsty, will do whatever he wants to get what he wants, no matter how many people are killed.
Yeah, and they do a good job at that, mirroring both of them, Damon and Aemon. There, I mean, their names are very much similar too.
Yeah.
And seeing that, and seeing how kind of they both are second brothers, second sons. I mean, and then both are have a chance to be at the throne, but never will because they're not the firstborn. And then so they had to be great warriors and great fighters, much like Daemon was as well. So you see a lot of that kind of mirrored there.
And another thing too was what's funny in season 1. He's like, I can handle my uncle, and then like it's like I think it's at that like dinner celebration or whatever, and Daemon approaches Aemon. He's like walking away now. Like, I'm like, you're all talk, Aemon. You are all talk and no like action when it comes to your brother. I mean, your uncle. Your uncle. Yeah. So.
Sometimes get a lot of incest around there.
Yeah, one time there's this guy on TikTok who does Aemond. He's like, well, we ran into my cousin Lucerys, and everyone was like, he's his nephew, and he's like, right, nephew. So sorry, there's a lot of incest in my family. It's hard to keep up. I'm like, he's actually your cousin and nephew at the same time. Like,
yeah, a lot of sometimes it's hard to keep track. Like the Bella girl, and like it's hard to keep track of like how they're related. Like, what are they?
Bella and Rain, is it Raina? Yeah, they're Daemon's daughters,
right?
With his first wife. Yeah, they're Valerians too. So like, also, can we talk about Corlys having illegitimate, sons?
Yes, that's and then so the Adam Hall, is Adam Hall also his son? That's also his son.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
but
also.
But you notice, what is it, Alan? Yeah, the one that's bald.
Yes.
He's always having to shave his head. Everyone's like, why is he bald? I'm like, he probably has his dad's hair. Yeah. And he does, because we saw him like shaving it off. And I was like, I bet he's envious of Adam not having that blonde hair.
So what do you think with that character? I mean, after Rhaenys died, obviously he's pretty shaken up and pretty distraught about that. Where do you, when now she made him hand of the Rhaenyra did. Where do you think he's kind of going from this point? Because he seems pretty half in the game, I guess, somewhat there.
Yeah, he's almost being like an uncle type figure to Rhaenyra, because I mean, technically he is being like a guiding figure since her father's no longer there, especially when Aemon's gone. So like she has to depend on like someone who knows how to ride a dragon, has experience in diplomacy and battle, and Corlys is all she really has. And I'm kind of glad that he's like, yeah, you got dragons, but they also will end up having dragons too. It's not gonna be easy battle. You guys think you got this, but you gotta be careful. Like he's being very realistic about like the situation, which I can respect that for.
Yeah. and with the bastards that he has, so one became a dragon rider.
Mm-hmm.
One ended up there. I forgot the dragon that he took. Was it? I forgot the name of the dragon he took.
Oh man, let me look that up real quick. I think
Was it?
it's
It wasn't Silverwing, was it?
no Silver Wings with Ulf, which I feel like he's gonna be the
Oh,
first to die because he's a cocky bastard.
yeah, I forgot the name of the dragon he took, but he seems to take it really seriously, being a dragon rider. And then you also have the other bastard son, who you mentioned, the one that shaves his head, who is just all about the sea. He's all about that. He's all about just like, that's what I care about. That's what I do. I've, made all these accomplishments, rising the ranks there without the help of who my father is. Nobody knows that. I've been able to do all those things, and then you see that now Corliss has tried to like re-enter their lives, and especially that one who is like, hey, maybe I'll help you do this, help you do that, but it's like, well, he's already a full grown adult man now, so it's kind of way too late to enter his life or to have any sense of importance in his life now. um, so I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of somewhat there. um, yeah, so you said, so it does seem like Rhaenyra this season, I do think they made her very wishy-washy, and not as decisive, I think, as she was in the previous season. And it seems like, I think that was kind of a downfall there of
Oh,
just
it's Sea Smoke that
sea smoke.
Yeah.
Okay, sea smoke there. So yeah, they made her kind of a little wishy-washy in terms of that. Of
Yeah.
I get the ramification of that, but it just seemed like very indecisive there with a lot of kind of things going on. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. It's just I just did not like it. That's one thing a lot of people who I watched doing reviews were like, oh my god, they basically, Rhaenyra does nothing besides sit in the castle and whine about how she's powerless and can't do anything. Again, if they just listened to Daemon in the first place, war would not have been inevitable. Like,
and we talk about the season finale. So in this season finale, we see that, okay, finally they seems like, okay, war's ready. It's gonna happen.
mhm.
Season 3, Rhaenyra has her army now.
Yeah.
Damon raised that. He did a lot of dealing. He
Mm-hmm.
let a little 12-year-old talk shit to him, and then he
Mm-hmm.
held his tongue there. Uh,
Yep.
so that happened. You see that they have dragon riders, so they have people prepared, and you see, like, when I showed that clip of the battle scene, so dragons completely turn the tide of a battle. Like, even if you
Yeah.
have this, they can just instantly go out. They're almost like nuclear options here. They can
Yeah.
completely turn the tide there of that. And you see with Allison, it's reverse kind of there of where we saw Rhaenyra come to Allison. Now Allison has gone to Rhaenyra there at Dragonstone,
Yeah.
saying that she's kind of done with all this now. I mean,
Yeah.
you see her position now. She's kicked off the court by Aemon.
Yeah.
Nobody's backing her. Not the Sir Kristen Cole. Not the foot dude, the club foot there,
Laris.
Laris.
Yeah.
Um, so she's kind of in that position now. What do you think about kind of the arc that Allison went on this season?
She still doesn't really think she did anything wrong. Like when I was watching that scene, the the final with like her and Rhaenyra, she's like, Rhaenyra's calling her out for, but she's like, oh, but it wasn't so bad, and I'm like, you're the reason why all this started because you didn't really take the time to learn Targaryen family lore. You were solid Team Green, which is the Hightower colors. You still act like you act like you were not vindictive towards Rhaenyra. Like you're not jealous of her. Like she was always going to be on the Iron Throne. Like no matter how many other kids Viserys was going to have,
Mhm.
or she was just downplaying her part in like usurping Rhaenyra. And I just was like, mm. But then there are people who ship Alicent and Rhaenyra and are like, oh my god, they're reunited and fallen in love. I'm like, no, they're not.
It seems like, I wish they kind of followed up more. You speaking about kind of a connection between them, but with Rhaenyra and then her kind of other major, I guess, people on her court that's kind of not on her court. That's just directly to her.
Mm-hmm.
What's that character's name?
Massaria?
Massaria. Yes.
Yeah.
Not really much of a.
Who was also Damon's. He lied about impregnating her in season 1 when we know she can't have kids of her own.
And it seems like they didn't really too much follow up on that. What happened
Yeah.
after the kiss? Did you think
Mm-hmm.
that was a mistake at all?
Oh, that was definitely a mistake. I was like, come on, let the lesbians go. Like,
Uh, and that was episode 6, I think it was
yeah.
the small folk episode. There seems like there was no like talking about like what happened, or I mean, I get other stuff obviously is going on that's of importance, but it seemed like there was really no really follow up too much to that. But Maseri, I think out of she's kind of my favorite. I think Maseri is my favorite character.
Yeah, she really, I mean, she knows the way around like the poor folk, but she's very smart. But I think it's because she learned a lot from Damon,
Yeah.
from being with him. Um, but like she's very like she gives like great advice. She's like, if we start spreading, a lot of people want food. If we start spreading rumors about, how dictatorial, Aemon is, and like it's, she really was a good like trusted someone that Rhaenyra could depend on for really excellent advice, especially with Damon doing his whole let's fix this Castle Harrenhal edition spin-off show he was doing throughout the season.
Yeah. Yeah, she's her master of whispers, I guess.
Yeah.
Every person has to have that, and
Yeah.
she's really good at giving Rhaenyra advice and helping her, sticking around. So I mean, the character's fate I'm most invested in is probably hers. I think
Yeah.
a lot
Like
of
I'm sad, but also too, I felt bad because like this season also I think what Bela's sister really had no plot.
Mhm.
Like I'm like give her something to do. Like, what's it? Is it her name is Reina? I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But she was just being bullied by like the cousin of Rhaenyra's mom because she's an Allen as uh and I'm like, this poor girl has lost so much. Why are you treating her like garbage? And same thing with the boys. Like, she was also kind of like, I can't wait for, we found ways for you guys to leave. And it's like, the deal was you were supposed to take, have them hide there until the war was over. Was it not?
it did seem like with her. So you're talking about Baylor, right? Or
No, her sister.
Right, the younger one.
Yeah.
Who she basically her task was to take care of the younger children of
And the
Rhaenyra
dragons, the baby
and the dragon
dragons.
and the
Yeah.
baby dragons there. And it did seem like okay, I every time it kind of cut back to her, I was like, okay, what are we exactly doing
Doing. Yeah.
here with kind of her there? I don't know exactly her fate later on with it, and this is the character right here. I don't know
Yes.
exactly what they're kind of going to do here. I mean, you would probably know. You've read further there, but
Yeah.
what they're kind of going to do there.
Yeah.
But it just kind of. I mean, initially her quest was like, okay, it seems like pretty important. Obviously, what she's kind of got to
Yes.
do, but it just
Protect the heirs, protect the others, protect Aegon, Viserys, Joffrey.
yeah. So
And that bitch is like, I can't. We could get you guys to leave. Like we got something arranged. And she's like, I literally have to stay here. She's like, no, you don't. Bye bye.
so that was kind of I think a low point in the season 2 for me. With
Yeah.
there.
And also we got a will they won't they with Jacaerys and Bela.
Mm, yeah, it's because they would be cousins, right? They're
Yeah.
cousins.
No,
Yeah.
half. Yeah, cousins technically. They have no blood. They're not half siblings of any kind because again, different mom.
Yes, different mom, and yeah, so they would be cousins. Yeah, different mom and different dad, so they'd be
Mm-hmm.
cousins there.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not as bad as some other relationships that we've had there in the show, and it
Yeah.
seemed like it was kind of always building up to that maybe there, because wasn't who was when they initially promised to each other initially
I think so.
in season 1, right?
Yeah, I think so. And also too, Bela's really a good like someone for, Jace to, depend on, and they have like they got something going on it seems. We're also ready for them to kiss, and it hasn't happened yet, and like
Yeah, and this is Baylor right here.
yeah.
Um, and very good at I mean, she almost smoked Sir Kristen Cole there. She almost got
That
him.
was my favorite part. I was like, "Oh my god, if you had only told the dragon to Dracarys, then it would be fine."
Yeah. So she almost kind of got him there.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I think weren't they promised to each other in season 1 or something, or marriage, something like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would happen like Jacaerys is her heir, despite the fact that he's Harwin Strong's son. But honestly, I mean, ooh, Harwin Strong. R.I.P. to him and his dad. I can't believe Lars did that. Yeah. So I think pretty sure they were promised to each other. It should be rather interesting to see how the relationship plays out eventually. Um, but we also saw this season with Jacaerys, just resentful of the fact that he's like, I'm a bastard. I've had to deal with this my whole life, and you want bastard Targaryens to ride dragons, even though that was my original plan. But now it's happening. I'm a little salty about it. Like,
Yeah. Did Yeah? Because why didn't he try to ride a dragon? Did he just think he was not able to, or she banned him from riding a dragon? Was it?
no, I think I think he does have his own dragon. I think I don't know if I
But I
remember.
mean, obviously, Lucerys. I mean, he had his dragon. I mean, he had his own dragon, and then see what happened there. Uh,
Yeah, well, that was Jacaerys' idea. So
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, but I
But
think
I think what it is that he's kind of mad that there are so many like bastard Targaryens around that it could worry about oh my god, they could usurp the throne of brother. I'm like, nah, because most of them are gonna get burned by that one dragon, so you'll be fine. But I like Hugh.
yes, he's got. I mean, we focused a little bit on him this season and his story.
Yeah,
He represents a lot of the small folk of what was happening in King's Landing,
yeah,
of them not being able to get a lot of food or anything supplies
yeah.
because
His
it's a lot.
daughter died.
Yes, his daughter
Yeah,
died, and his wife, so he wants a better standing for him and his family. So in this
yeah.
season, like we mentioned, they're trying to get people to ride these dragons, these unclaimed dragons, and so
Hmm.
Rhaenyra has this idea of like getting a lot of these people who may have Targaryen blood in them because obviously they did a lot of sleeping around, a lot of
Yeah.
Targaryens. They were most
So much blonde hair all of a sudden. I'm like, damn, where did all these people come from?
tons out the woodwork there. And then they go, and then she gets a ship, and then sneaks the people off King's Landing to Dragonstone to basically go like, "Hey, this is the opportunity. You claim a dragon. If you do, you get to be, have this kind of noble life there."
If you die, well, that's a price you'll have to pay. Like freaking like Lord Farquaad in Shrek.
And you see, like, did that kind of put a new side to you, Rhaenyra, when she kind of did that? Of like, because a lot of the Team Black is like all about we're doing this for the small folk, we're doing this for the people, but then like letting these people kind of get burned and not letting them leave, and you see the guards kind of standing there, like blocking the exit there. Did you that kind of put a new, you know, see a different side of Rhaenyra for you?
We finally see her actually be, a bit of a ruthless queen, honestly, because the fact of the matter, she's like, you guys could die, and there's really nothing we could do about it. And plus, a lot of them were already burnt to the point where it's like, even if they wanted to escape, they would have just died from like their the burns. Um, but when it comes to Hugh versus Ulf, Silverwing's like, I haven't had anyone claim me in a while, so I'm gonna just claim you, you little cutie. Like, that was actually quite funny. I'm like, oh, she's desperate for someone to ride her. Um, but it was interesting to see Hugh. He's like, kill me now. I'm ready for it. And Vermouth was like, you are worthy of me.
After
I
all
think.
the people that it ate and burned, and yeah,
Yeah, he took the one that was willing to die. Like, awesome. He's like, there's some badassery in you. I like Hugh because he's like, I'm taking this seriously. Like, this could be my chance since I'm the half brother of Viserys and Damon. Like, he's like, there is something for me. Meanwhile, Off's like, oh, I can just, chill and whatever. And they're like, dude, you're probably gonna be the first dragon rider that's gonna die in this battle. Like, I don't know what happens to him, but I'm just gonna assume that he dies because he's being so cocky about everything. Meanwhile, Hugh's like, I'm respecting of the crown. I'm here to serve the crown. I'm doing what, any Targaryen man would have done. Like, but I heard eventually he becomes a rapist. But between the books and the show, it might not end up like that.
well, okay, I hope not, because I like him. I think his
Yeah.
story is a humble story of kind of what he's kind of going through right now,
Yeah.
and to see there. I mean, I don't know how long it takes to learn how to ride a dragon, or how proficient you got to be there. I don't
They had
know.
2 days. She said 2 days. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how long it takes there to learn all that stuff, and we'll see how proficient they'll be. And we see with a lot of the Dragon Riders, we mentioned Adam Hall, we mentioned Hugh there. They were
Mhm.
very much respectful. They want to serve Rhaenyra. They
Yeah,
want to have a chance there to upgrade their status.
yeah,
But then you have Ulf, who's just an idiot, who's just
yeah,
pretty stupid there, pretty
yeah,
oblivious. I mean, he really was like a guy that was just talking shit and got lucky there, and because he was getting a lot of free drinks over the thing of like, yeah, I'm got Targaryen blood in me, and I have this, and he was getting a lot of free drinks off the small folk there from that,
yeah.
and that he finally gets the opportunity. I mean, his kind of attitude there, it's like, yeah, I kind of want to see him maybe die immediately in the third season there.
Yeah, I'm like, he better be the first one to go and just Adam and Hugh live. And I think that's what happens. But again, so different from the books. But like a lot, it was just so funny how him riding Silverwing like spooked, made Aemon want to take action because a lot of people are like Dragonstone is that far from King's Landing. I'm like, no, it's not really. Like people forget that a lot of places in Game of Thrones are actually somewhat closer to each other than you would think. Like I'm like, here's a map of um but yeah, Ulf is just, not taking any of this seriously.
Mm.
And that's gonna worry me because it's like, oh my god, if he and that and oh my god, and also Silverwing seems like such a sweetheart. Like I don't want anything happening to her though. But Ulf, he's fine. He can.
So supposedly there's supposed to be. I mean, I think George R. R. Martin says at least two more seasons, like 4 seasons, 10. He's supposed to say like about 10 episodes. They've only done 8 each. I think. Oh no, this season they did 10,
Yeah,
and then last season they did 8.
yeah.
So at least 2 more seasons. He's saying to complete this story because it's not supposed to go on that long. It's not supposed to be something like a Song of Ice and Fire, where it's supposed to go on
Yeah, because
years.
there's a lot of stuff that happens between like Rhaenyra taking the throne and uh Aegon coming back for some reason and taking the throne, and then of course eventually her son Aegon takes the throne. So I'm like, yay, good. But I was so shocked to see Daenerys. Everyone's like, so she's the prince of whatever, and I'm like, I guess because they would have shown Jon Snow then.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the fact that we saw Daenerys, I was like, oh, she's the Song of Ice and Fire then. Huh. Not Jon Snow.
Uh,
But then again, her death made absolutely no sense to me at the end of Game of Thrones. It was just meant for shock value.
yeah, I've always found. I mean, I wonder can they actually go back and I don't know redo those last few seasons? I don't know, make it animated maybe with kind of something
Yeah,
there.
even Amelia Clark's like, you're gonna hate the ending, like I do.
Um, any final thoughts for season 2, House of the Dragon?
It could have been better. There was a lot of filler episodes, but they really changed the game with this episode by making it like a 70 something minute trailer for season 3.
Mm. It it just felt like a lot of again more build up there. I thought we were
Yeah.
more going to go to full swing into the war. It just seems like it's still a lot of prep there for
Yeah,
it.
this season just felt like it dragged on.
And I don't know if they'll do 4 seasons. Maybe they'll go out to 5, trying to go like, hey, maybe we want to still milk this a little bit more.
Yeah.
I know they have the other spinoff, like a Night of Seven Kingdoms, which is coming out next year in June.
Yeah. That might be the best one considering there is no lead female characters for the writers to like, do like misogynistic writing for. So, yay.
That's what I said. Damon did nothing the whole effing season.
I
Uh,
agree.
and then as far as I said, that was a cool part. No lie to see Danny and the dragons there.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I said, F the Greens there.
Yes. It makes no. There are people who are Team Green. I'm like, are y'all Team Green because you find like Olivia Cook attractive? I do too, but there's no reason. Like, y'all know Rhaenyra deserves to be on that throne. Viserys has always said that. Like, and the fact that they defend Aegon being a rapist and stuff like that, it's like there's really no sense of defending this Team Green. It drives me nuts.
So, what are you looking forward to? What do you want from season 3, and what are you looking forward to in season 3?
Blood, battle, dragon fire. and Rhaenyra on the throne.
I think, I mean, yeah, that's about the same thing I kind of want,
I have
though.
a weird feeling that season 3 is going to end with her on the throne,
Mm,
which is going to be. I'm like, oh come on, seriously, like.
mm. I don't know if they want to do 4 seasons. It depends on, I guess, how long they say they want to go. If they want to do 5, they want to do 4, because this show's going to have a high body count. If you're going off the books, a lot of people kind of dying there. We
Yeah,
saw, Rhaenys here. We saw the 2 twins die in this. So depending on
yeah.
kind of where it goes there from it, um, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens there more and kind of see. I think they said 2 years it takes before we get season 3.
Yeah, I kind of hate the idea that so many shows now take 2 years for a new season to drop.
Yeah. Well, the show, I guess, like this, it kind of makes sense with the amount of production that goes into it, with all the locations, with all the sets that they had to build. We saw a little bit of that, especially the effects with all the dragons. Did you
Yeah.
think the effect with that looked really bad in the season effect with the boats? Did you think that looked really bad?
Yeah, did they really just CGI a bunch of boats or whatever? Like, I don't like. They could have just put like make little miniature boats. Keep it like a lot of people don't realize how cheap practical effects can be. Make a little model of the boats and add some fog and like, you know,
Yeah. Because there was that whole side quest with Tylan Lannister going to Essex and then trying to strike a deal and then get some kind of votes there, and then
yeah,
he ends up with like that. He meets Abigail Thorne, who's YouTuber, meets her there,
yeah.
and kind of have a little mission. Wasn't she also in Star Wars Acolyte? Wasn't she also in that?
I think so, but I think it's funny. She's like, I want you to sleep with my wives and have kids. And he's like, how many are there? Like, he doesn't, like, when I think of a Lannister, I think of like either calculating, like tyrant. I think of, someone like vindictive, like Cersei, that's very wants to, be powerful and do whatever for her son. And then there's, uh, her Jamie, who ends up being like a good character by the end. But like this guy, I'm like, this guy's supposed to be a Lannister. I'm like, he's so soft. Like, who is he? Is he supposed to be like the great grandfather of Tywin Lannister? Like, is that? I'm like, this is gonna be really embarrassing.
But yeah, did you like his whole kind of side quest there when he kind of went?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be wondering who he impregnates that is like a heir to the Lannister legacy.
So was she supposed to be playing? She still was supposed to be playing a woman, right? But she just had wives there, or was she supposed to be playing a
Yeah,
woman?
I
Okay,
think. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So I got that there. So what rating would you give season 2 of House of the Dragon?
I would give it like a 6.5
Oh,
out of
okay.
10. Could have
6 point.
been better. They shouldn't have dragged it as long as they did. Literally could have done the battle in like episode 5. Like,
Uh,
like again.
I
Yeah.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's the whole like, will we go to war? Won't we go to war? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do that? And it's like so tiring. I'm like, just fight already. Like they oh, you're welcome. They think that like the blood and cheese was supposed to be like the red wedding, and I'm like, it was nowhere near the red wedding. Like,
It was a
that's like,
devastating moment, but I wouldn't compare it to the Red Wedding. No.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um.
also the fact that Helena forgave her mother for basically not being like, not, letting Sir Christian Cole protect the kids. It's like,
mm, uh,
but yeah, I do feel like hopefully season 3 is not as much as a build up where there's maybe we get some more action. Maybe Rhaenyra will actually take the throne halfway through the season, and maybe it ends with her like, her like getting like usurped again. I don't know, but like I'm hoping that we kind of, speed things up a little bit.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I feel. I feel like there's a lot of like, okay, it's still build up to the big battle. What we're gonna see finally the conflict between Team Black, Team Green there.
And
Uh,
then it cuts off, so we don't see anything. And I'm like, oh god, this episode was just a trailer for season 3.
I know that's kind of yeah a lot of it. I still think there's some good writing, good characters here. I think a lot of performances that you see, like you mentioned, the blood and cheese. I thought that was a good, devastating moment. Good performance by the actress who plays Helena there, and that
Yeah,
Alicent and Rhaenyra always have their great conversations here. The moment in the Sept, the moment where she comes back again to Dragonstone, Alicent, that's really good. So there's still
yeah.
some good scenes here. Um, do you think at all, like you mentioned, kind of still kind of a lot of build up? Do you think the writing quality dipped at all? Could you tell like this was done during a writer's strike?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. But it really, in my opinion, I know they probably, but they could have delayed it a little bit longer to improve the quality. Maybe that's why they realized that they should just make the season like a build-up filler season, because there's really not much that they can it's just faster to like write stuff that doesn't follow the books at all or whatever. Um, but what's funny is that in the books, Rhaenyra is 10 years old when her mother dies,
mm,
and Alicent's actually 18, 19 years old. Making them the same age was kind of weird because in the books people were like, Allison was bullying a child. Like,
mm. Okay, I
yeah,
didn't know there was that much of a age difference there in the books there.
yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
There's a
Uh,
lot of things they changed up because they're like, why not make them friends and like it just made it more interesting for like what ends up happening later on.
uh, Uh, I would give it a tune in, kind of a lowish tune in there. Like the first season, I think we did a review of the first season on the channel, and I think I give it like a high tune in, close to kind of a peak there of it,
Mm.
because it was like, hey, I mean, Game of Thrones was back again, and people were
Yeah,
like, hey, it kind of made up for even the bad seasons of Game of Thrones, and
yeah. They just said, "Oh, George R. R. Martin, you're not writing anything, so we got to wing it." And boy, did they wing it.
and so people like, I mean, I was like interesting to also see how much people are still interested even after those terrible seasons because so many people swore off it and then like say, oh no, we're
We're
back again,
back. Yeah.
and then it got high ratings and everybody was still loving it,
And
and
now
then
that they also they're going to do a spin-off of Aegon the Conqueror, I think too.
oh like a prequel like back when he
Yeah.
first like back with the very first Aegon. Oh
Yeah.
okay, I think
The
they got
actual yeah, the actual story of what Viserys told Rhaenyra that Alicent was like, "Oh, he's talking about my Aegon." And I'm like,
yeah.
"No, he's not."
I think they got like 7 spinoffs in the works supposedly. That
The game, the Song of Ice and Fire cinematic universe, is that what we're calling it now?
so there's this one, A Night of 17. That one's coming out next year in June.
Yep, Aegon's Conquest.
Aegon's Conquest there, the Sea
Sea
Snake
Snake.
slash
Mhm.
Nine
And
Voyages, we got 10,000 Ships, Snow. I thought this was canceled. Maybe this is an old
oh,
one.
is it definitely shelved? See the status right there, and
Oh
definitely
yeah,
shelved. Yeah,
and definitely shelved there. Would,
yeah.
would you have actually even liked to see that? Like him?
No, because I just feel like that guy, the actor, is just not good. Like, no offense to him, but like,
Kit Harington?
yeah, I just don't feel like he's a really good actor, and yeah, I feel like there probably could have been like better actors who could have taken on the role of Jon Snow, but like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's
Um, I thought that he was kind of funny in that HBO movie where he played stupid.
yeah,
He's kind of funny in that.
very against type.
The Golden Empire,
Yeah,
uh,
Blood Moon was canceled.
Blood Moon. What was Blood Moon supposed to be about?
Uh,
It has become set thousands of years before Game of during the Age of Heroes. Blood Moon would take place in the lead up to the Long Night War with the White Walkers. Okay.
Flea
Uh,
Bottom canceled. What is that? Robert's Rebellion unknown.
would you actually like to see that a show about Robert's Rebellion?
Yeah, I'll probably yeah, and
So
that's it.
yeah. So they're gonna be milking this universe dry. Game of Thrones. I mean,
For
Warner
another
Brothers.
10 years.
Uh, I don't know what I mean. They still trying to get all these franchises, still get it going. That's why they're trying to keep doing Harry Potter over and over again. They're gonna do that.
Yeah, and the fact that J.K. Rowling is involved still is just like this is bad. Like no one's gonna watch something like I mean, but then again, J.K. Rowling named a black family like Shacklebolt,
Yeah. And named a Asian daughter
Cho Chang,
Cho Chang. Yeah.
and all the Irish characters had the most Irish sounding names you could think of.
O'Leary and
Yeah, Phineas, like oh my god, like
Yeah.
And of course, all the bankers, the goblins looked very Jewish.
Mm. Very, very good stuff there. I know the game did really well. Hogwarts Legacy. I know the game did really well.
Yeah, it came and went though. Like everyone's like, whatever. I mean, I'm still a Ravenclaw, but even then, I'm like, I still love Twilight, but but it's just like, J.K. Rowling is awful. Okay, she's awful, and the fact that the Harry Potter actors want nothing to do with her says a lot.
Let's see. He also said, what even happened to the dragons? You all know what? Like
Like,
what?
like the oh, like the dragons that Baylah's sister was supposed to have. I think she did end up sending the boys and the dragons off to whatever that place was where you know there was supposed to be another safe haven for them.
Okay. And says, did you all watch that gunpowder movie with kids? That was traumatic. I didn't see that.
No.
Okay.
Like,
Uh,
oh, like in 300 years why there are no dragons. Oh, well, the show later on will explain why that is the case.
yeah. You'll see that that's the case. Yeah, definitely in this series here.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah. Yeah. So that was House of the Dragon season 2.
Hmm.
Our thoughts on that. Thank you again, Christina, for joining me here
Yep.
talking about this.